If you're starting a private practice, are you insane? Who do you think you are to be charging patients cash fees and not accepting insurance? Are you really going to become one of those inaccessible providers? You're a sellout. Now, if you don't think I've gotten comments like these before, you're wrong. And chances are, if you've shared your hopes and dreams of having cash pay private practice with your colleagues, your friends, your family, you might have heard them too. But here's the truth. This is your life and your career, and you don't need others' permission to pursue your dreams. Nor should you listen to their judgy comments that insinuate that what you want is wrong in some way, or unachievable, or greedy, or unrealistic. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly how to handle haters and how not to let doubt control your life. So I'm Alana Miller, MD. I'm an integrative psychiatrist, 2-time cancer survivor, and I coach and mentor psychiatrists and psych MPs on business strategies and integrative psychiatry best practices to thrive in private practice. So I talk to a lot of psychiatrists who dream of having their own practice, but they are so overwhelmed with external criticism and internal doubts, and they begin to question their dream. So look, the medical system is 1, hierarchical, 2, conservative, and 3, not exactly open-minded when it comes to melding business and medicine. And that's not all bad. Medicine should be somewhat hierarchical because you learn from those who are more experienced than you. It should be conservative because when you have people's lives in your hand, you need to make sure you're practicing in a responsible, evidence-informed way. It should be wary of mixing medicine and business, since of course money should never be made at the expense of patient care and what's in the patient's best interest. However, some of the black and white thinking that sometimes happens in medicine, and especially psychiatry, can get a bit out of control. I've gotten this message myself in various ways, especially when I try to talk about setting up a cash practice or practicing integrative psychiatry, which if you've watched any of my previous videos, you see as something totally common sense and non-controversial. So you know the comments. You just care about money. It's unethical to have a cash practice. Who do you think you are? But do you know what the people who make these comments have in common? They're taking their own limitations and projecting them onto you. They're trying to bring you down so they can feel better about themselves and the fact that they chose to stay in their comfort zone. It's like the crab in the bucket phenomenon. You know, if you're a crab in a bucket of other crabs and you try to climb out, those other little crabs are going to try to grab your legs and pull you back in. Because if they can't get out of that bucket, they don't want you out either. So let's jump into the 4 steps of how you can overcome external criticism as well as internal doubt and not let anything stop you from achieving your dreams. Step 1. Handle the haters. All right, so the first time I ever dealt with a significant amount of hate in my life was not recently related to my cash practice or my business or anything else like that. It was 2013 when I was first diagnosed with T-cell lymphoma in my last year of psychiatry residency. So I wrote this blog post called Holy Shit, I Have Cancer, and it ended up going viral on Facebook and Huffington Post. And all of a sudden I had like 1 million people landing on my blog, leaving comments, sending me emails. Now, 99% of those messages were very nice, but about 1% of them were horrifically mean. Like, you're an entitled doctor, I hope you die, you don't deserve this good medical care you're getting. People were essentially mad because they thought I was getting special treatment because I was a doctor. And meanwhile, I'm 31 and just felt like my life had been ripped out from underneath me. Like, I'm overprivileged. I would have been overprivileged if I had not gotten cancer. It was actually so emotionally painful at the time that I had to have family members log into my blog from my account and then delete the comments before I could see them. I'm literally in the hospital trying to manage this as I'm getting chemotherapy. So fast forward 10 years, I survived that, survived cancer, not once, but twice. And because I have an online presence, including this YouTube channel, and I have a blog and email list and all that, I get negative comments every once in a while. It's not actually that often, but it happens. Anytime you have a public persona, public presence, you're gonna get some negativity. And when I get them, I think it's kind of funny because it's like, oh, how cute. This person thinks I give a about their opinion. I mean, the first time it happened and I wasn't used to it, it really got to me. But now, I mean, cancer didn't bring me down. You think some random stranger shaming me online is gonna get to me? You can do this too. You have permission not to listen to people's opinions, or at the very least be selective about whose opinions you listen to. If someone wants to have a nuanced conversation, great, do that. But if someone's just coming at you trying to shame or insult you, listening to them is optional. I personally love seeing the disappointed look on a hater's face when they realize their opinion does not matter to me at all. It's like this sinking realization. Whenever this happens, I just ask myself, does this person even know me, or are they judging me based on assumptions? And 2, is this person going to be at my funeral? If this person doesn't respect you enough to listen before judging, or to state their criticisms in a respectful way, or just doesn't care enough about you as a human being at all, then why should their opinion take up even the smallest slice of your brain? Remember, it is optional to take on someone else's opinion for yourself. It shouldn't be an automatic, someone said something to me, I should automatically believe it. You are allowed to be discerning about whose opinions matter to you. And the thing is, when someone is judging you or telling you that you shouldn't do something, it's very possibly because they have that that same voice of doubt in their own head and haven't found a way to overcome it. It's not like they're necessarily a bad person trying to intentionally keep you down. It's just that they have their own limitations. So you have to ask yourself, do you really want to be limited by someone else's limitations? Remember, this is your life. This is your career. You're not going into private practice to impress your colleagues or impress your former attendings. You're doing it to help your patients. Do you want your life to be limited by others' own limitations and small-minded beliefs, or do you want to be the one in control of your life and choose the path that you know is right for you? You're not going to be on your deathbed with regrets like, oh man, I really wish I'd listened to more negativity in my life and let it control my decisions. Now, if someone is reflexively criticizing you or shaming you, that's pretty straightforward to handle. You just ignore it. If it's online, delete. If it's in person, diffuse and change the subject. You don't have time for that. I don't even bother arguing because it's not worth my time. But now let's say someone whose opinion matters to you criticizes you. What do you do then? Well, in that case, it's worth having a deeper conversation with that person about your reasoning and why you're doing what you're doing and why it's important to you. Maybe if you can paint the bigger picture of what you have in mind to this person, you might be able to help them understand where you're coming from and turn them from being someone who's a detractor to someone who's a supporter. As a side note, I know it can be hard finding like-minded people when you're interested in integrative psychiatry and private practice, so I built a free 6-step mini course and private community for providers who are interested in starting their own cash pay private practices. It is a judgment-free zone where you can learn the fundamentals of developing an entrepreneurial mindset, offering platinum patient care, and using integrative psychiatry approaches. You can click the link below in the description if you'd like to join, totally free. Step 2. Step into the arena. It is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. That was Teddy Roosevelt, and he was on to something. How do you deal with all this external criticism and judgment from your colleagues in addition to your own internal doubts and reservations? You have to remember that the people who are judging you are not in the arena. They're not pushing themselves. They're not creating anything. Those criticizing are ironically not risking judgment and criticism. It's easy to be a critic. Any moron with an iPhone and access to the internet these days is a critic. It's hard to be a creator. Look, I'm a little bit embarrassed to share this with you, but I used to be on the other side of this. I would read literary fiction and be like, I don't like the plotting of this novel. Meanwhile, the book won a Pulitzer Prize. I thought I was so clever because I could point out problems with someone else's life work. And then I tried to write a book, and it's freaking hard. I've been toiling away at this, not making progress for years. So believe you me, I don't criticize anymore. Look, it takes vulnerability and courage to work towards something that you truly care about when it's not guaranteed you'll succeed. It's much easier to criticize someone else's life than to be that person who shows up every day, crafting the life that you want and getting back up each time you fall. Why should you care about what someone who's just a spectator in life has to say about you? It's your life to live, not theirs. If you're a creator or a builder or an entrepreneur, you know what it's like to be too busy making your dreams a reality to care what anyone else thinks. Anyone who has the guts to face their fears and take action will not be naysaying others because they know firsthand how hard it is. That's actually one of the ways to tell who a hater is versus someone who's just offering constructive criticism. A hater isn't doing or taking risks with their own life and is just judging you. Step 3. Learn to face doubt. So are you familiar with the story of how Siddhartha became the Buddha? So many years ago, there was this young prince Siddhartha. Now, he wasn't your typical prince. He wasn't interested in the lavish palace life or power or riches or anything that came with his title. No, Siddhartha had on his mind bigger things. He wanted to unravel the mysteries of life, to understand suffering, and to find a cure for it. So our guy Siddhartha starts this intense spiritual journey. He's all in, fasting, meditating, you name it. But then, after some soul searching, he has a realization. He's like, wait a second, torturing my body isn't helping me find the answers. He realizes enlightenment is achieved through a middle path, through balance. Not too much of this, not too much of that, but just right. So here's where things get interesting. Siddhartha decides he's gonna meditate under this Bodhi tree, and he's serious about it. Like, I'm not moving from this spot until I crack the code of the universe and become enlightened. So he's there doing his thing, completely focused, when trouble shows up. Enter Mara, the bad guy of our story, the devil. He isn't happy to see someone trying to reach enlightenment, so he decides he's going to mess with him and try to throw him off his path. First, he tries to distract Siddhartha with all kinds of pleasures and desires, but Siddhartha doesn't even flinch, eyes on the prize. Seeing this isn't working, Mara tries to poke at Siddhartha, like get under his skin, make him feel angry and feel hatred. But Siddhartha is like a mountain, steady and unwavering. So Mara tries a new tactic, thinking, okay, maybe I can make him lazy and unfocused. Nope, doesn't work either. Siddhartha's still as focused as ever. Then Mara's throwing everything at him, trying to make him anxious and worried. But Siddhartha, cool as ice, not bothered by any of it. As a side note, these are the first 4 of 5 hindrances to enlightenment in Buddhist philosophy: desire, aversion, sloth, and restlessness. And anyone who's meditated has experienced all of them. But Mara is not done. He's got one last card to play. He hits Siddhartha with the absolute worst obstacle of all: doubt. Mara leans into Siddhartha and says, "Who do you think you are to be trying to achieve enlightenment? Do you think you're so special? Don't you think you should just give up?" So why did Mara save doubt for last? And why is doubt the worst obstacle? Because doubt tells you to do the very one thing you can't do if you want to succeed, which is give up. You can basically make any other mistake and still be successful. It may take you longer, but you'll get there eventually. You can have days when you're lazy. You can have days when you're restless. You can have days when you're angry. Giving up, though, is a mistake that you cannot recover from. Siddhartha did not become the Buddha until he persevered through doubt, and you too will not achieve your dreams until you conquer the voice of doubt in your head. Now, you may be thinking, but Alana, I've got actual reasons to doubt myself because blah 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 and blankety blank, I don't have the right experience, I don't know enough about business, I don't have enough money to start, I haven't done an integrative psychiatry fellowship yet, this would work in New York, but it wouldn't work in my state, etc., etc. I hate to break it to you, but these are the exact same doubts everyone has. These are not unique thoughts, and I mean that to be reassuring. I actually find it amusing because now, having coached 100 plus psychiatrists and psych MPs on building their practices, I've heard every single anxiety and worry and doubt that a person can have, and they're all the same. Everyone has the same worries and thinks that their worries are somehow more unique and more true than anyone else's, but they're not. So what are you supposed to do when you feel doubt? Honestly, I just ignore it. I have all of those same negative internal voices that you do. I just ignore mine. So I'm officially giving you permission. Hear it, ignore it, and keep moving forward anyway. Step 4, don't give up too soon. So often when I'm speaking with people considering joining my program, I'll be asked, what's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't? If people join your program and they don't succeed, why is that? Well, I will tell you. I have a lot of data on this at this point. There's lots of little reasons that can affect success, mostly surrounding how hard you work, but there's really only one big one that nearly single-handedly determines on a long time horizon whether or not a person will be successful. And that is if they give up too soon. Now, this is connected to my last point about being able to manage doubt, because what does doubt do? It hijacks your brain and tells you to throw in the towel before you've had a chance to make progress. Have you ever seen a chart showing Warren Buffett's net worth over time? Warren Buffett being the founder of Berkshire Hathaway and perhaps the most famous investor of all time. It was nothing, 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 and then it exploded. This really is an example of the power of compound interest. Compound interest applies to building a practice too. It's not compound interest of money in this case, but compound interest of effort. In the beginning, it's all work and no reward. But then if you keep at it, you reach a tipping point, and you just can't give up before you hit that tipping point. I think it's ironic that we psychiatrists dedicate our careers to learning everything about the human mind, and yet we still fall victim to our own fears. It's not that it's so hard to build a practice. I mean, it's not harder than medical training. It's just less certain. We clinicians are used to going to school, doing the work, and getting a guaranteed result. This kind of private practice is simple, but not easy. Look, if it were easy, everyone would do it. Who wouldn't want more autonomy and more money and more time, being able to do more than just prescribe medications with their patients and having better impact with their patients? Who would not check that box? But achieving it takes perseverance and courage and guts, and not everyone is built for that. As a side note, 90% of my success I credit not to being smart or clever or particularly hardworking, but to being resilient. There are people, especially other doctors, who are smarter than me, better clinicians than I am, better speakers than I am, harder workers than I am, but I never give up. You can do pretty much anything to me and I won't give up. I mean, I got cancer twice and I was like, Well, that's inconvenient, but I brush myself off and move forward. I'll give up when I'm dead. Until then, I'm gonna keep pursuing my dreams. And you watching this video, I have a feeling you have it in you to succeed because you are here watching and trying to make your dreams a reality, which is exactly the kind of mindset you need in order to be successful. So I hope I was able to inspire you even just a tiny little bit to keep chasing your dreams and not let doubts from yourself or others control your life. So now it's up to you to decide. Do you want to have an average life with average dreams? Or do you want to do something more, something that takes guts and resilience to build, but will give you complete autonomy and fulfillment in the long run? If you want to see more of what's possible, then you'll like this next video that gives you a behind the scenes look of what the average day is like for a private practice psychiatrist, my life in particular. Maybe it will inspire you of what's possible for yourself. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you there.